You're not broke because you're lazy. Nah, let's get real for a second. You're broke because you're out here playing this whole money game, and you don't even know the rules. Worse than that, the rules they fed you since you were a kid, the ones that sounded so smart and responsible, they're the exact same ones keeping you spinning your wheels, stuck in the same spot year after year. Stay with me though, alright? Because once you see what I'm about to lay out here, you can't unsee it. It's like that moment when someone flips on the lights in a room you thought was clean, and suddenly you see all the dust and the mess you've been living in. It hits different. It changes how you move from that point on. I've been there, man. I've felt that exact frustration where you're grinding, doing what they told you, and still wondering why the hell nothing's moving forward. But stick around because we're about to rewrite the whole damn playbook together. Let me ask you something straight up. And I want you to really think about this, okay? Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right? I mean, you studied hard in school, you show up to work every day, you put in the hours, you try to save a little here and there, but somehow you're still in the exact same place financially. Like the money comes in one hand and slips right out the other before you even get to enjoy it. Bills stack up, unexpected stuff pops up, and poof, another month gone. Another paycheck evaporated. Yeah, that feeling, it's not just bad luck. It's not you being irresponsible, or whatever the voice in your head tries to tell you when it's 2 a.m. and you're staring at your bank app. That's by design, my friend. The whole system was built that way. They set it up so most people stay comfortable enough not to riot, but never actually get ahead. You know what I'm saying? It's like running on a treadmill that's been programmed to keep you exactly where you are, no matter how fast your legs are moving. I've talked to so many people who feel this exact same way. They're not lazy. They're exhausted from playing a rigged game they never even knew existed. And the crazy part is, once you start seeing it, you start noticing it everywhere. In the way your parents talked about money, in the advice your teachers gave, even in the ads that promise financial freedom, but never actually deliver the map. From the time we were little kids, they drilled this into us, right? Study hard, get good grades, land a safe job, work your way up, save your money, be responsible. Sounds solid on paper, doesn't it? Like the responsible adult thing to do. But here's where it gets painful, and I'm not sugarcoating. This because you deserve the truth. Those rules weren't built for wealth. They were built for stability, for keeping the machine running smoothly. Stability sounds nice until you realize it's just a fancy word for a comfortable cage. You get the steady paycheck, the benefits, the illusion of security, but you're still trading your time, your one finite resource, for someone else's dream. I remember sitting in my old cubicle years ago, thinking the same thing. I had the degree, the good job, the 401k contributions, and I still felt trapped. Like I was doing everything right, but the finish line kept moving further away. That's not an accident. The game was designed that way on purpose. The people who wrote those rules, they weren't trying to make you rich. They were trying to make sure you stayed productive and predictable. And it worked. Until you wake up and realize the cage door was never locked. You just didn't know you could walk out. And what I'm about to drop next, man, it might sting a little. It might make you pause the video for a second and just sit there. But that's good. That little discomfort, that's where the shift starts. You've been told your whole life that hard work creates money. Grind harder, hustle more, stay late, wake up earlier. That's the path, right? But let's be brutally honest here. Hard work creates survival. That's it. It keeps the lights on, puts food on the table, pays the rent. Leverage? That's what actually creates wealth. Leverage is the game switch nobody bothered to mention in school or at the family dinner table. It's the difference between trading hours for dollars and setting up something that pays you whether you're working or not. I used to think the same way. I'd burn myself out working overtime, thinking that extra effort would finally move the needle. It never did. Not really, because effort alone is finite. There are only so many hours in a day, and your body and mind can only take so much. But leverage multiplies everything. One smart move, one system, one piece of ownership, and suddenly your money starts working for you, instead of the other way around. That's the collision point. That's where the old beliefs smash into reality and you realize you've been sold a story that keeps you small. Think about it this way. Picture two people starting at the same place, same age, same background. Person A works 10 hours a day, every day, trading time for a paycheck. They're reliable. They get promotions, they feel productive. Person B, they build a system once, maybe an online course, maybe a small rental property, maybe a digital product that people keep buying, and that system pays them over and over again, even while they sleep. Who do you think pulls ahead after 5 years? 10 years? It's not even close. It's never been about raw effort. It's about how many times your effort gets paid. 1 hour of work that generates income once versus 1 hour that generates income forever. That multiplier is everything. I've seen it play out in real life with friends of mine. One guy still grinding at the same job he had 10 years ago, complaining about inflation. Another guy set up a simple automated business and now travels half the year while the money keeps rolling in. Same starting point, totally different games. The difference? One learned the real rules. The other is still playing by the old ones. Let's zoom right into your average day, because this is where it gets personal. You wake up, maybe hit snooze a couple times, scroll through your phone for 20 minutes, news, social media, whatever, then rush to work. You grind through the day, come home exhausted, order some takeout because who has energy to cook, watch a show or scroll some more to unwind, and then crash. Repeat. 5, 6, 7 days a week. Feels normal, right? That's what everyone does. But look closer, really look. There's almost zero creation happening in that loop. It's all consumption. You're feeding your mind junk, spending money on convenience, giving away your attention to things that don't pay you back. Consumption never builds wealth. Creation does. That little gap between what you do every day and what actually moves you forward, that's the silent killer. I used to live that exact routine, and I wondered why I felt stuck. Turns out, my entire day was designed to keep me in survival mode, not growth mode. Once I started auditing those habits, really looking at where my time and energy went, everything started shifting. Not overnight, but little by little. Now let's talk about the money side, because this one sneaks up on you. You've got subscriptions you signed up for 6 months ago and completely forgot about. That $9.99 here, $12.99 there, it adds up fast. Then there's the food you didn't really need but bought because you were stressed or bored or saw an ad. Impulse buys for that quick dopamine hit. New gadgets, clothes you wear once, random stuff that seemed like a good idea at the time. These aren't huge expenses on their own, but small leaks, they sink big ships. I've been guilty of every single one of these. I'd look at my bank statement at the end of the month and go, where the hell did it all go? Turns out it wasn't one big mistake. It was 1,000 tiny decisions that added up to thousands of dollars down the drain. Once you start tracking it, actually, writing it down or using an app, you can't ignore it anymore. And that awareness, that's the first real power move. So what changes first? Not your income, not some magical raise or side hustle that suddenly fixes everything. Your awareness changes first. Because once you really see the leaks, once you see the patterns in your habits and your thinking, you can't pretend they're not there anymore. It's uncomfortable at first, sure, but it's also freeing. You stop blaming the economy, or your boss, or the system and start taking control of the parts you actually influence. Then comes the behavior, not some massive, dramatic overhaul where you quit your job tomorrow and move to Bali. Nah, that's not sustainable and it's not what we're talking about. Tiny shifts, tiny consistent shifts, spending with intention instead of on autopilot, thinking before you click buy now, creating something, even a small thing, before you consume more content. That's where the power starts building. Those little changes compound. They stack on top of each other like interest. 1 month you notice an extra $100. Next month it's 500. Then it snowballs. I've watched it happen in my own life and in the lives of people I've coached. It's not sexy. It's not instant. But it works. But even that, even those solid little behavior changes, they're still not enough on their own. There's one more layer, one deeper layer that almost nobody talks about. And that's where we're headed next. You don't need to work harder. You need to play a completely different game. The old rules were designed to keep you in the rat race. The new rules? They're about freedom, leverage, and ownership. Let me break them down for you the way I wish someone had broken them down for me years ago. Rule 1. Your income has to scale without trading more of your time. That means building things that pay you repeatedly, whether it's digital products, investments, rental income, or automated businesses. You stop selling your hours and start selling value that multiplies. Rule 2. Skills beat degrees every single time. A fancy piece of paper might get you in the door, but real-world skills, copywriting, sales, coding, marketing, negotiating, those are what open the floodgates. Degrees are static. Skills compound. Rule 3. Ownership beats salary. A salary caps you. Ownership has no ceiling. Even a tiny piece of equity in something growing can outpace years of raises. Rule 4. Attention equals money. Whoever captures and keeps attention wins in today's world. Your focus is your most valuable asset. Guard it like gold. Rule 5. Systems beat effort every time. Build the machine once, let it run. Effort is finite. Systems are infinite. Once you internalize these, not just read them, but live them, everything in your life starts rearranging itself. Opportunities appear where you used to see roadblocks. Ideas flow where you used to feel blank. It's wild how fast it happens when the foundation shifts. Let me give you some real-life meat on this. Take Rule 1. Scaling without time. I know a guy who created a simple Notion template for freelancers. He spent maybe 20 hours building it, put it up for sale, and now it brings in a couple grand a month on autopilot. He's not working more. He's working smarter. Or Rule 3. Ownership. My buddy bought a small duplex with some creative financing. He lives in one unit, rents the other. That rental income covers his mortgage and then some. He owns an asset that appreciates and pays him. Meanwhile, his old coworker is still paying rent to someone else's asset. Same salary, completely different trajectory. I could go on for hours with these examples because they're everywhere once you start looking. The point is, these rules aren't theory. They're battle-tested. They're what the people who actually build wealth quietly follow while everyone else is still reciting the old script. Pause the video right now. Seriously. Take 10 seconds. Ask yourself, are you working for money? Or are you building something that works for you? Be honest. That answer right there, that's your reality check. That's the moment you decide if you're staying in the old game or stepping into the new one. You were never meant to win the game they taught you, because they never showed you the real rules. They showed you the version that keeps the system stable, keeps the workforce showing up, keeps the consumer machine humming. But now you know. And knowing changes everything. It changes how you look at your bank account, your calendar, your future. The next time you feel stuck, don't ask, how do I work harder? Ask, what game am I actually playing? Because the wrong game will never, ever give you the right results, no matter how hard you try. You deserve better than that. You deserve to play a game you can actually win. If this hit you even a little bit, if it made you nod along or feel that spark of, wait, this is it, then you're already ahead of 90% of people out there still sleepwalking through the old rules. Subscribe right now. Hit that button. Because next time I'm breaking this all the way down, step by step. No fluff, exactly how to escape the old system and build the new one that actually works for you. While going deeper, we're getting practical, and I don't want you to miss it. See you in the next one. Let's build this together. And here's the expanded version continuing with way more depth. Stories and real talk to hit the full length you asked for. I kept going in the exact same natural podcast host voice, no AI stiffness. Just me talking to you like we're sitting across the table. Let me circle back to that hook for a minute because I want to make sure it really lands. You're not broke because you're lazy. I hate when people throw that line around like it's motivational. It's not. It's shaming. The truth is way more nuanced and way more useful. You're broke, or at least stuck, because the entire financial operating system you were handed is outdated, incomplete, and frankly designed to keep you in the middle class at best. Think about it like this. Imagine you're playing Monopoly, but nobody ever told you about the get-out-of-jail-free cards, or how to buy hotels, or that you can trade properties strategically. You're just buying whatever lands on your piece and hoping for the best. That's most people's money life. They follow the go-to-school, get-job, save, loop and wonder why they never pass. Go and collect $200 in any meaningful way. I've lived this. I grew up in a household where the big financial advice was, don't spend more than you make, solid. Advice for not going into debt, sure, but zero help for actually building something bigger. So I did the responsible thing. I got the degree. I got the entry-level job. I saved 10% like they said. And guess what? I was still living paycheck to paycheck at 28, stressed about rent, watching my friends who took risks somehow pulling ahead. It wasn't until I started questioning the entire framework that things changed. And that questioning, that's what I'm handing you right now. Let's unpack the relatable problem even deeper because I know this hits home for so many of you watching. You study hard. Maybe you even went to college or trade school, racked up some debt doing it. You work hard, 40, 50, 60 hours a week sometimes. You try to be smart with money. Maybe you have a budget app. Maybe you cut back on eating out. But the progress, it feels microscopic. Inflation eats your raise. Life happens. Car repair, medical bill, family emergency. And suddenly you're back to square one. The money disappears like it was never yours because the system is engineered for consumption, not accumulation. Banks want you to borrow. Companies want you to spend. Advertisers want your attention 24/7. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's just how modern economics works. The game rewards the owners, not the workers. And until you decide to become an owner in some small way, you stay in the worker lane forever. I remember one particular month where I got a decent bonus at work. Felt like a win. I treated myself to a new phone because I deserved it, paid off a credit card, took the family out to dinner a few times. And by the end of the month, the bonus was gone and I was looking at the same balance I had before. That moment was my wake-up call. It wasn't the bonus that failed me. It was the fact that I had no system in place to make that money multiply. It just got absorbed back into the consumption machine. Sound familiar? Yeah, I thought so. Now on the anchor segment, those childhood rules. Study hard, get a job, be safe. Man, if I had $1 for every time I heard that, I'd already be financially free. It sounds so logical when you're 10 years old, but by the time you're 30, you realize stability without upside is just slow motion limitation. The job market changes. Companies downsize. Technology replaces roles. That safe path suddenly doesn't feel so safe anymore. Meanwhile, the people who ignored that advice a little and learned about leverage, about assets, about creating value at scale, they're the ones with options. They have the freedom to say no to a bad boss. They have the cushion to take time off. They have the peace of mind that comes from knowing their money works even when they don't. I've got a story for you. My old college roommate followed the safe path perfectly. Great GPA, corporate job, nice house in the suburbs, 2 cars, 401k maxed. On paper, he looked successful. But he hated his job. Worked 60-hour weeks, and the only vacation he took was a long weekend because he couldn't afford more time off. Contrast that with another friend who dropped out of the traditional path, learned digital marketing on YouTube, built a small agency, then created a course teaching other people how to do the same. He works maybe 15 hours a week now and makes 3 times what the safe guy makes. Same intelligence level. Same starting point. Different rules. One played the stability game. The other played the leverage game. I meant it when I said it might hurt. Because facing this stuff requires you to admit that a lot of what you believed was just how life works was actually a story someone else wrote for you. And that admission stings. It's humbling. But it's also the most liberating feeling in the world. Once you accept it, you stop fighting the wrong battles and start fighting the right ones. The collision segment is where we really crash the old beliefs. Hard work creates survival. Period. I've worked with people who hustle 60, 70 hours a week in 2 jobs and still barely get by. They're not lazy. They're trapped in a linear income model. Leverage changes the equation. Leverage is a blog post that earns affiliate income for years. Leverage is a piece of software you build once and sell 1,000 times. Leverage is buying a dividend stock or a small business that generates cash flow. It's not about working less in some lazy way. It's about working smarter so your results aren't capped by your hours. Let me paint a picture with the 2 people example again, but let's stretch it out. Person A wakes up at 6 a.m., commutes, sits in meetings, answers emails, comes home drained, repeats. Their income is directly tied to showing up. Miss a week because of illness or burnout, and the money stops. Person B spends a few months learning, building, testing, maybe creating an online community or a niche product, and then that creation keeps paying. They can take a month off and the revenue keeps coming. They can reinvest, scale, hire help. Their time becomes a multiplier instead of a limiter. That's the game switch. That's what separates the people who feel free from the ones who feel chained. Cluster 1, your daily habits, is where the rubber meets the road because this is the stuff you control right now, today. That morning scroll? It's not harmless. It's training your brain to consume instead of create. That evening Netflix binge? Same thing. You're feeding the consumption muscle while the creation muscle atrophies. I started small. I replaced 30 minutes of scrolling with 30 minutes of learning or building. One video on a skill, one page of writing, one idea jotted down. Tiny. But over months, it added up to real assets, real skills, real income streams. The key is noticing the pattern first. Awareness before action. Always. Cluster 2, the money leaks, is sneaky as hell. I once tracked every single expense for 90 days. The amount I was wasting on forgotten subscriptions alone shocked me. Over $400 a year. Then the little treats, coffee runs, Amazon one-clicks, delivery fees. None of it felt like a big deal in the moment, but collectively it was thousands. Small leaks sink big ships, like I said. Plugging them isn't about becoming a miser. It's about redirecting that money toward the new rules we talked about. One leak plugged becomes $1 invested. $1 invested becomes 10 over time. Bridge segments are the transition points. Awareness first, then behavior. No big leaps, just intention. Spend with purpose. Ask, does this move me closer to the life I want, or is it just filling a void? Think before you act. Create before you consume. Those 3 tiny rules, practiced daily, will reshape your entire financial reality faster than any get-rich-quick scheme ever could. The open loop I left you with earlier, that deeper layer is mindset plus systems. You can change habits and plug leaks, but if your core beliefs about money are still, I have to trade time for money, you'll cap yourself. That's why the pillar segment, the new game rules, is the heart of everything. Let's live in those rules for a while because they deserve the deep dive. Income must scale without time. This is passive income 101, but done right, not set it and forget it nonsense that never works. Real scaling, a YouTube channel that earns ad revenue while you sleep, a book that sells on autopilot, rental properties managed by a property manager, dividend portfolios, licensing deals, SaaS products. I know people making 6 figures from a blog they haven't updated in 2 years. The work was done once, the paychecks keep coming. Skills over degrees. Man, this one fires me up. I've hired people with no formal education who could outwork and outthink graduates because they had marketable skills. Copy that sells, video editing that converts, sales calls that close. Those skills put money in your pocket immediately. Degrees can help open doors, but they don't pay the bills by themselves. Invest in skills that the market actually rewards right now. Ownership over salary. A salary is a ceiling. Ownership is unlimited upside. Even 1% equity in a growing company can dwarf a 5% annual raise. Even owning your own small business, even a one-person business, puts you in the driver's seat. You control the profit. You control the direction. You control your time. Attention equals money. In the attention economy we live in, your focus is currency. Every scroll you give away for free is potential income you're handing to someone else. Guard it, curate it, use it to build your own audience, your own brand, your own platform. That audience becomes your most valuable asset. Systems beat effort. This is the ultimate multiplier. A well-designed system, automated email sequences, SOPs for your business, investment rules you follow religiously, does the heavy lifting so you don't have to. Effort gets you started. Systems keep you going forever. I could spend the next hour giving example after example for each rule because I've seen them work in real life over and over. The single mom who built a digital product around her meal prep system and now earns more than her old job while spending time with her kids. The corporate guy who started a niche newsletter, grew it to 10K subscribers, and sold digital guides that now fund his early retirement. These aren't outliers. They're people who quietly switched games. The engagement trigger, pause and ask yourself that question, is powerful because it forces honesty. Are you building assets or just trading time? That single honest answer can be the turning point of your entire financial story. Closing it out, you were never meant to win their game because their game wasn't designed for winners like you. It was designed for participants, for cogs. But now you know the real rules, and knowing really does change everything. The next time that stuck feeling creeps in, don't default to work harder. Ask, what game am I playing? Then choose the one that actually rewards you. CTA time. If this shifted even one thing in your thinking, you're already winning. Most people will watch this, feel inspired for 5 minutes, and go right back to the old script. You're different. You're here. You're listening. Subscribe so you don't miss the next part where I get super tactical. Exact steps, tools, mistakes I made so you don't have to. We're building this together. Let's go. I've met too many incredibly disciplined people who are still broke to believe that lie. You're broke because the map you were given is missing half the roads. The rules they taught you, study, job, save, repeat, were written in a different economy. An economy where jobs lasted 40 years, pensions were guaranteed, houses were affordable on one income, and inflation was low. That world doesn't exist anymore, yet the advice stayed the same. So you follow it faithfully and wonder why the results suck. It's like using a 1990s roadmap to drive across a city that's been completely rebuilt with new highways, tolls, and traffic patterns. You end up lost, frustrated, and out of gas. That's the stuck feeling. That's the money comes in and disappears feeling. It's not personal failure. It's using the wrong map. Once you get the new map, the one with leverage, ownership, systems, the whole journey changes. You start seeing exits you never noticed before. Opportunities pop up that were always there but invisible under the old rules.